72 premiers. 1914, 128 points to Port Adelaide's 10-12, 72 points. And let's have a look at these scenes now.
It's fair to say that North had its fair share of reasonably, or very good players, and I think any side with Barrie Robran in starts to boast of having some pretty good players. But quite apart from Barrie, there was the Sachs brothers and Bowden Jaworski and blokes like Terry Von Berto and that sort of thing. So there was plenty of, I believe, plenty of talent here.
There's Patterson at the moment. He'll to come in one moment's time. Patterson.
And it was a chance, obviously, to win 3 in a row because we'd won in 71 and 72.
2 years in a row, and this is something that's eluded a lot of coaches in the past out north.
But we'd had a pretty successful season, and that led to that last day in September, which was pretty significant in the fact that it was going to be the last grand final, probably will ever be the last grand final played at Adelaide Oval, and that was in our era the cultural home of football.
We went into that game and you have a lot of hope.
Started the 1973 grand final umpire Murry in charge.
It was very quick because there was only an attempt to score just a little bit late. It was knocked out of his
Away from him, back to Carey. Carey with a long one, down to the half-forward flank, finds Wiggins. Wiggins snap, kick in towards full forward. Fred Gillis finds Lane. Quickly point, lines it up.
Well done, Freddie. Miles in front of him and Barrie to Rodney. One goal on the field. Right through the middle it goes.
Gillis is down there, taken by Cornwall. Back it goes to Gillis, who's one of McGarry. Snaps it back over his shoulder, right up towards the square. There's plenty of room. There it is. Goal! 5 minutes. They've got him. Take the kick. On the mark is the 1973 McGarry's medal, and that's Barrie Robran. Howard goes through very nicely, dishes out a shield, the front one, out towards the back. Playing well in this first quarter. Marsh is across there. Here's Barrie Robran coming into the game for the 3rd time. He'll kick it right down towards the square. In fact, it's a free kick. And only McGarry can do that. Always hit the little ones, no good hitting the big ones, only cancels out. There's the thump from Tregenza. He won that tap down, no doubt about it.
I think Bob Tregenza probably played the best game of football in the ruck that I've seen for a while. He had to do it on his own because his partner was injured early, and so he was up against Spry and Spawn for just about the whole game, and he played a fantastic game. I think he had something like 21 hit-outs, which is not a bad day's work.
Single out anyone is probably not my role, but I will, because I cannot forget and never will forget the performance of Tregenza.
22nd goal for the season for North Adelaide. Bounce at the centre, Gary Spawn hung there, but Tregenza did better, knocked it out to the side, finds Hamilton. Burns has been sticking very close to him, retarded then by Von Berto, kicks towards centre half forward, Spry, and Murry, the dominant player on the ground at the moment, is...
The coach at that time, I believe, thought it was a good idea to play a loose player in defence, which was the role that I was meant to be playing, to try and nullify Peter Carey's influence on the game. Peter was opposed to Neil Sachs on that day, and it certainly wasn't one of Neil's better games. I'm sure he would admit that, and Peter was really creating havoc for us, so the idea was almost to play 2 players on Peter Carey.
What saw that and indicated in the back. Barrie Robran stands the mark. Barrie Robran loose in defence all this quarter, yet to get a kick.
Carey's kick 3-2. This is a monstrous kick. You could give him the Seiko right now if you had to make a decision after his ball.
Well, it was about 31 degrees, which is pretty warm for footy, and you know, it was one of those days where the game was seesawing a lot, and so there was a lot of movement, and by the end of the game I was tired, and I know a lot of the players were tired too. And the other factor was that for some reason there was a lot of time on, and actually 35 minutes I think it was, which meant the game really went for 5 quarters, which is you know, which is hard work.
You had a lot of young players in those days. You know, you talk about Peter Carey and little bandy-legged Rexy Voigt. I mean, those players were very significant. And if you look back at 73 and have a look at the age of those players, that's what Curls build up to. Had to have young people who were prepared to have a go.
A goal, and he's on the target again. Well done, Hamilton. So it's 8 points the difference. The Bay's in front. And now tomorrow, who's won it, as it goes down towards the right field. Oh, Hammond, he's got to be one of their best anyway. No doubt about that. Two players. Here comes Colby on Seagut. That's all he's got left. And he angles it down and drops it from the back pocket to the centre of the ground. Waits for the centre. Great catch. Beauty. The game, long handball across. Barrie Robran over to Murry. Robert's left-footed. Down towards centre half forward. Against it from behind. A great good kick. And there's Reddick. Steady. Colby's gone. They're all gone. Towards centre half forward. Up goes Rachel.
Yes, I can still see him doing it. He had a floral, pinky, purpley shirt on, and he did that when we hit the front.
He's 3 points lead. We've had 2 minutes of time on. He's really cramped as he comes in. Forward goes, and full marks is the Barrie Robran who got the ball down.
And I've got to be honest, I thought when we hit the front at about the 29-minute mark of the last quarter on that very hot day in October, that we were going to win.
And I thought, here we go again. After 69 and 70, here we go again.
And we have now 5 points minutes, 2.5 minutes played. Glenelg in trouble.
An incident happened in the last quarter which might have cost North a chance. They were on a bit of a roll and the ball was kicked into the crowd at the northern end and it took an age to come back. And I reckon it cost North Adelaide a bit of momentum.
It probably just allowed Glenelg maybe to settle a little bit because we were certainly on a roll at that stage.
Bobby has it centre half back and he's got to get distance, they've got to get a goal.
Comes across the ground, finds Peter Anderson, usually a very good kick. You can see the pace he's gone, but he's had it. He kicks a long one down to the full forward spot. Carey's there, can he mark it? He's marked them all day. Bob Hammond throws.
I remember trying to run the ball close to the boundary and it didn't actually go over, and a Glenelg player got it and kicked it back to Graham.
Hooks it up in front of the goals. He's scored! He's 25.
I don't know where he got the strength from because it was right in the dying minutes of the game, and he flew and grabbed it, and it was a great mark under pressure. And I was glad he marked it too because that held the game up for a while and I could get into position. But
Never ever forget it. All the strain on number 12. And every bit of strain.
Hasn't kicked the goal all day, Wally. Hasn't kicked the goal all day. 29 for the season. Can he make it 30? It's a heart failure finish. He's back to the front. And the Bays go back to the front. We've had 5 minutes of time on. The Bays in front. What do you think now?
I was very close to him and I stood right behind him as he was kicking the ball, trying my very best to upset him or put him off, but it didn't deviate, it just went straight through the middle. Very, very good kick in the circumstances.
Goes to Frederick Willis, sets himself right now towards the spur. It goes, it's only about 50, 60 seconds left.
And you can't hear it, but Sandman's a tremendous mark. Coming out of the forward pocket. He's played it full forward. He's in the forward pocket now. Pulled down a mark. He's taken 6 good marks. He's had 8 kicks. But he's coming.
There's the siren. The Bays, the first Premiership win since 1934. And it's only
I remember what seemed an eternity, but probably was 30 seconds of an absolute vacuum of a feeling. I just felt nothing.
Bays winning by 7 points, and what a mighty grand final that was. Wally May, Ian Aitken, your comment. Oh, the best grand final I've ever had the privilege of calling. Well,
You cannot possibly imagine the feeling of the supporters on that particular evening after 29 years of being in a drought. It was just one of the most sensational moments you'll ever have in your life.
I've often said that it's the best game I've umpired, and I umpired quite a number, as you said. But this game was just special because it was so free-flowing and so close, so tense, and played in such a good spirit.
They were a wonderful side. They deserved to win in the end. As I say, in hindsight, I have to admit that.
being hoisted now, Ian, he's a proud man indeed to have coached his.
Curls instilled into the players a need to be proud of yourself. I mean, Neil Curley's always been proud of himself, and so he should be. He was a dedicated man. I won't go through his lifestyle because it was one that it should be put in a book and it should be read about Neil Curley's upbringing and his attitude to football and to people. So he just expected people to do the same, and that's what happened at 73.
It was the last occasion on which they beat Port Adelaide here at the Adelaide Oval, and it's perhaps fitting that this, perhaps the last grand final of the Adelaide Oval, should have been won by the Bucks.